Okay guys, let's get this out of the way. Kuki is absolutely Shinobu. So we got Kuki Shinobu, the newest electro healer in the game. So this is the first healer in the electro element, which is nice because it fills the gap of that healer role, which we have never had before in that element. However, she is very problematic. I don't really see her being useful in many different team comps. In fact, I can only see her being useful in like 2 team comps. You can even go with other options within those team comps, and they are better. The only time that you would actually want Kuki Shinobu is when you need both an electro and a healer. And her scaling is all over the place. It's like another Shinyan.
Just let me know if you ever find yourself in a pinch.
Yeah, you are in a pinch in this guide. Shut up. She scales with HP, she scales with EM, man. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about her kit, her weapon, her artifact sets, her 2 different builds, and her team comps. Alright, so first let's talk about her kit. First, her elemental skill, which is this thing here.
Our bond is strong.
So every 1.5 seconds, it's gonna do an electro pulse, which is a reliable source of electro application, and it's gonna heal you. So you get this passive healing and a nice AoE if you're looking for electro application, but not really if you're looking for damage, because she doesn't deal a lot of damage for her elemental skill. So her talent, the damage of this talent scales with attack, but the healing scales with HP percent. So with Kuki Shinobu, you're gonna want to build her with HP to make her heal for a lot, which means her skill damage isn't gonna be high. It's gonna be peanuts. You're not even gonna feel the damage of her elemental skill. Now the burst, she does this small AoE that deals a lot of electro hits very fast. Take note, you're not gonna be doing a lot of elemental reactions with it, because remember, elemental reactions have an internal cooldown of 2.5 seconds. So you're not gonna be doing a lot of elemental reactions with it. Now, if you're looking to do damage, it's still not the answer. Her burst, I will say, is trash, dude. You're not gonna use Kuki Shinobu for her burst. You don't even have to think about her burst anymore. It doesn't heal. In this case, Barbara even beats her, because Barbara has the passive healing on her skill, and has hydro application on her skill, and has the burst healing on her burst. And Kuki Shinobu doesn't even have the burst healing on her burst. So even Barbara could be said is better in that regard. But yeah, you know, different applications. She's hydro, Kuki is electro. Her first talent, when her HP is below 50%, her healing bonus increased by 15%. I think this is so dumb. This is one of the most useless passive talents I've ever seen. You wouldn't want to be below 50%. And when you do go below 50%, because of her skill, it decreases her HP by 30%. You get healing bonus by 15%, which is, it's not a lot. And once you get above 50%, it's gone. So it's like, it doesn't even have to be there. It might as well be not be there. It's trash. And then this one, Sanctifying Ring's abilities will be boosted based on Shinobu's elemental mastery. So Sanctifying Ring is her elemental skill. It will increase the healing amount by 75% of elemental mastery, and it will increase the damage by 25% of elemental mastery. So we're talking, if you build triple EM with Shinobu, you might be having upwards of 800 elemental mastery, which means you'll be healing for about 600 more per tick, which is not a lot. 600 more is not a lot. And about, what, 200 more per tick of damage? 200 more damage? That's nothing, right? I don't know, man. Her scaling is all over the place. And I know some people are gonna make the case for her triple EM build, but I'm gonna address that later in the build section. All right, and why I think it's really bad, and it's copium. The only way you should be using Kuki is a healer with the utility of applying electro application. Talk about her constellations. Look, I don't want to keep bashing and hating Kuki Shinobu. I love the character. She's so cool. She's a freaking ninja, and her name is Kuki. How could you hate her? I pulled her because I like her, and I knew she was gonna be bad just reading her scaling and her kit. I knew she was not gonna be that good. So let's get this straight. I like the character. I'm not hating on her, but these are the facts. Constellations, absolute trash. The AoE of her burst is increased by 50%. Bro, her burst does not do a lot of damage. It sucks. So increasing the AoE, I guess it's nice to have for more electro application, but you're gonna get consistent electro application anyway from her skill. Of this, it's a little bit nice to have, nothing game breaking or game changing. C2 increases the duration of her elemental skill. That way you have 0 downtime, but the downtime is only 3 seconds. and 3 seconds is enough for you to do all of your character rotations. It doesn't really change the game if you have 0 downtime on her elemental skill. C4, you get a bit more damage with your other characters based on Shinobu's max HP. It's a tiny bit more damage. C6 is like a worse Barbara C6. So if you take lethal damage, you will be reduced to 1, and then Shinobu will gain 150 elemental mastery for 15 seconds. Look, any talent that requires you to reduce your HP or to almost die is not good, because in the game, you want to kill everything as fast as possible. The game is a huge DPS check. You don't need to reduce your HP so that you can satisfy this condition and get 150 elemental mastery. 75% of 150 elemental mastery is 112. You're gonna get 112 healing if you have 150 elemental mastery. And then you're also gonna get 25% of 150. You're gonna get a whopping 37 more damage. Man, C6, probably one of the worst C6s I've ever seen in the game. The weapon. So with Kuki Shinobu, we know that she scales with HP, and you want to build her as a healer and not for damage. However, the only HP option you have is a 5-star, and it's called the Jade Cutter. But when it comes to 5 stars, I'd rather go for the Freedom Sworn than the Jade Cutter, because with the Freedom Sworn, you only need to do 2 elemental reactions, and then you're buffing the whole team. But with Jade Cutter, you're honestly just buffing Kuki Shinobu herself, and she doesn't even do a lot of damage, so I would say Freedom Sworn is much better in that regard. Now, if you don't have any of those 2 5-stars, the 4-star options I would recommend is the Favonius Sword. But with the Favonius Sword, you are going to want to build some crit rate with your character to trigger the energy particle generation reliably. So Favonius Sword is gonna help your team gain more energy, and it's not just helping Kuki Shinobu. This energy recharge right here, I don't really care about this energy recharge right here, because again, her burst is trash. So you're using Favonius Sword for the elemental particle generation, and you need crit rate for that. If you are having a hard time building for that crit rate and you just want something easy, something that is reliable, you can just go for the Iron Sting. I recommend the Iron Sting because there's really no reason to go for energy recharge, because her burst is trash, and there's no HP option aside from the 5-star option. So Iron Sting is just an easy elemental mastery stat, and she gets at least some value out of it instead of having a useless substat. For artifact sets, I recommend the 4-piece Tenacity of Millilith. Not only is the 2-piece set synergizes well because she scales with HP, she does more healing with the more HP she has, but the 4-piece set is also very much synergistic because it's easy to proc the 4-piece set effect and get the attack buff consistently. Because her elemental skill, as you can see, it procs every 1.5 seconds. So you are going to get the consistent attack buff from the 4-piece Tenacity of Millilith. As for the main stats, you would go for HP, and healing bonus. These are the best main stats if you want the maximum healing. And for substats, I recommend trying to find elemental mastery in the substats. I myself haven't farmed good artifacts yet, so I don't have a lot of EM, but at least if you have some EM, you get more healing and a bit more damage. You could go for some energy recharge substats, but again, you don't really need her burst, so you might as well focus on her healing capabilities. Now, I want to talk about this case of the triple EM build for Kuki Shinobu. So there's people who are saying that the triple EM is actually the best way to build Kuki Shinobu because you're gonna deal 20,000 overload damage with triple EM Kuki Shinobu. Yeah, that's true. You're gonna deal 20,000 overload damage if your Kuki Shinobu is level 90 and she has 800 elemental mastery, but the same can be said for any electro character. Overload damage does not care who your character is. It only cares about character level and EM. So if that was Fischl, who is level 90 and she has 800 elemental mastery, she would also be dealing 20,000 overload damage. So saying that triple EM is good on Kuki Shinobu because she will deal 20,000 overload damage is not a case for Kuki Shinobu. It's not the character. Overload damage doesn't care about a character. And in the case of Fischl or Beidou, you don't even build them with EM because it's just much better to increase the damage of their kit, because their kit already does a lot of damage. Fischl and Beidou, you want to increase their electro damage, not their EM. Can the same be said of Kuki Shinobu? No, dude. The only redeeming factor to that triple EM build is that she's doing decent overload damage while at the same time healing. So if you want a healer who does some more overload damage, why not? You can use Kuki Shinobu. That is fine. Do what you want. but I don't recommend it. I mean, if you want more damage, go for a higher damage electro character, and then if you need a healer, like just run Bennett or something. At least you get an attack buff as well. For team comps, one of the most obvious choice to user in is the Taser comp. Now normally you would be running double electro, Singcho or Yalan, and then Sucrose. You know, you could use Fischl, Beidou, Raiden Shogun, but in those team comps you don't have a healer. Singcho doesn't count. He does a little bit of healing, but he's not a dedicated healer. So in this case, if you're having difficulty staying alive in your Taser comp, then this opens it up for Kuki Shinobu to replace one of the electro characters, and now you have still the Taser comp, but you have a healer. The other team comp she would be good in is with Eula main DPS. Previously, you had to run Diona for that double cryo resonance and cryo particles, as well as she is the healer. And then you run a double electro for superconduct and double electro resonance. But now, since you have an electro healer, it opens up the space for other cryo supports. So now I can run a Rosaria with the C6, so she gives physical resistance shred to the enemy. You can even run Shanha, and then you can still run double electro now. You can use Fischl or Raiden Shogun, what have you. So yeah, those are the only two team comps that I think are viable for Kuki Shinobu. Like with anything else, it's just much better to run somebody else. There's not a lot of place for this character in the game right now. Now some people are saying she's gonna be great for the upcoming Dendro reactions. If you want to believe that, that's fine, but I myself, I deal with hard facts, data that is available. I make decisions based on the information that we know of. So, you know, if you want to build for the upcoming Dendro reaction, why not? You do you. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and see you in the Discord. We have 13,000 members in our Discord. You can talk about Genshin or other gacha games in there. That's discord.gg/xfam, and I'll see you around. I got 9 seconds left.
More speed.
We can do it. We can do it. More speed, Eula. More speed.
Time to scout.
More speed. 1 second. Come on, dude. That's 1 second away.